Hello, this is Mr. Agbamu Idanogrene. I'm here to solve some questions on bearing from WAEC Past Questions. So in my last video, I tried to introduce bearing to you and I gave you some basic explanation of what bearing is all about. It's all about turning the angular turn of the point facing the north as your reference point, and the north is always 0 degrees and you always turn through east direction. So I have a question here I want to start with. That is it's also an objective question taken from 2002, number 13. And this question, let me read so that we'll go together. It says point X, Y, and Z are located in the same horizontal plane. So when we say horizontal plane, is different from horizontal line. Please take note of that. So a flat surface can be described as an horizontal plane. Just like this screen can be described as an horizontal plane. But the most important thing is when we say 3 points X, Y, and Z are located in horizontal plane, that means you can stand on that plane, just like the earth surface. You can take the earth surface as a horizontal plane, or you can take the floor of your house as a horizontal plane. Then 3 points can be located on the surface of that floor. So now the most important thing now is not about the point, it's the bearing. How do you locate these 3 points on the surface of this horizontal plane? So let's start now. So this horizontal plane is such that y is 12 kilometers north of x. So y is standing on 12 kilometers north of x. So that means our question is going to start with x. So we are starting our question with x because y is on the north side of x. So all you just need to do, get your diagram. You can start from somewhere here. Just get your sketch. So you can label this as point x. So this is point x, and they said y is standing on north of x. So we have already said that in bearing, the assumption is you are always facing north, and this top is always taken as the north. So if this is point x, this is north, so y is standing somewhere here. It says standing on the north of x. So since they didn't give any angle, that means it's standing at due north. So this is point y. So if I draw straight up, can draw straight up. So this angle, so the bearing from y to x now is going to be 0 degrees. Okay, it's going to be from y to x, going to be 180. This is how you turn. Y from x to y is going to be 0 degrees. Well, let's go back to the question and see again. Point x, y, and z are located in the horizontal plane such that y is 12 kilometers north of x. See, so y is 12 kilometers north of x. So it's correct. So y is 12 kilometers north of x. So if this is x, y should be 12 kilometers on the north side of x. So you label this as 12 kilometers. Alright, that is all with this. So you've settled the location of x and y. So let's move on. So the next part of the question said, and z is on a bearing of 270 degrees from x. So this z now is on a bearing of 270 degrees from x. So the 270 degrees is going to come from x. You can see it from x. So from x, you need to turn 270 degrees before you can locate point z. So that is on this point x, you need to turn 270. This is 90, 180, 270 before you move straight to point z. Let's say somewhere here. So you label it point z. Just take your time and follow your questions step by step. Any line you read, interpret it with the diagram before you move on. So z is on a bearing of 270 degrees from x. So our turning is from x. You turn 90, 180, 270 before you move straight to point z. And let's go on. The question said if xz is 6 kilometer. So from x to z here, 6 kilometer. So 6 kilometer. Alright. So I think the question is over. The next thing is what to calculate. Say calculate correct to one decimal place. YZ. So this is the distance the question wants us to calculate from point Z here down to point Y. So this is what the question requires us to calculate. So it's a very simple one. That's why it's an objective question. So if you are not able to locate this bearing, you are going to have problem with the question. If you don't understand the turning of bearing, you are going to have problem with this. You are going to have problem with this question. So the next thing now is how are we going to solve this distance from Y to Z now? Remember what I said, the angles between each of the cardinal points is 90 degrees. So angle between north and west is 90 degrees, and beside the full circle is 360 degrees. So 360 minus 270 is going to give us 90. So this angle here is 90 degrees. So you label it. So this angle is 90. So as this angle is 90 degrees, so we don't have any stress. All we are going to use here is Pythagoras theorem. That is what we need to solve your Y and your Z. I told you before, for you to understand bearing, you need to know the following. Pythagoras theorem, very, very important. Trigonometric ratio, very, very important. Then finally, what you need to know next is your sine rule and your cosine rule. So this is the diagram for this question, and that is all. The next thing is the solution, and let me do the solution on this paper here. So all we need to do now is you need to state the law you are using, which is using Pythagoras. Using Pythagoras rule. Use Pythagoras rule, or you say Pythagoras theorem. So, and what does the law say? It says the square of the hypotenuse, that is hypotenuse square, is going to be equals to the opposite square plus the adjacent square. So this is summary of Pythagoras theorem. The sum of the square of hypotenuse, the square of hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of opposite and square of adjacent. That is Pythagoras theorem, and it's only applicable to a right angle triangle. And in this right angle triangle, this is 90 degrees and it's facing this place. So this place where it's facing is the hypotenuse. This is hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse side. Anywhere, any side facing 90 degrees is the hypotenuse. Then the other angle, if this is your angle, this side can be the opposite, or if this is your angle, this side can be your opposite. Then the remaining side is going to be the adjacent side. So finally, the solution to this question is h square, which is the yz now. This is, let me put it in bracket, which is yz square is going to be equals to, this side is 6 square and 12 square. That is 6 square plus 12 square. And this is going to be what now? Yz squared is going to be equals to, you have 36 plus 144, and this is now going to give us what? So yz squared is now going to be so when we add these two together, we're going to have 169, let me see, sorry, 196. we're going to have 196. You can confirm it to be sure of your solution. Okay, we're having a 180. Okay, so 180, and finally now yz. The next thing is to square root both sides to take away to clear off your square. So finally yz is going to be equals to square root 180 degrees. Sorry, square root 180. So finally our answer yz is going to be equals to, so you just find the square root of 180. So 13 point what? 42. 13.42 kilometer. So that is all. The question says correct to one decimal place. If we have to take it to one decimal place, so the answer is going to be 13.4. So that is it. So it's a very simple question, and that is all about this particular question. So let me just demonstrate this using GeoGebra so that you get what we are saying. You can actually solve this question from scale drawing. You can sketch this drawing, just take a scale. Take your ruler and get a scale. Let me just demonstrate it with this GeoGebra so that you see it well. So if this is my 3 point x, y, and z, we say y is standing on north of z. So y should be somewhere here. Let me connect them with a line. So if I connect them with this line, so y should be directly north. So I position it. So y is north of z of x, and let me put my length, and the length there is, let me reduce this. So the length is 12 kilometer. Okay, so 12 kilometer. So that is it. From y is 12 kilometer north of x, so you get that. Then z now is standing at 270. So that means if I turn 270, just watch the turning here, watching this place as it turns 270 degrees. Then you connect it. Let me connect it to to z now, and let me get the distance. And the distance xz is 6 kilometer. So this distance is 6 kilometer. Let me put it there. So 6 kilometer on this point. Okay, so that is it. So if I join, you can use your ruler, you can take a scale of this question. Scale drawing can give you your answer. Okay, this is 270, not 271. I need to correct it. Okay, yes, still it's in order. You can see 270 before you move down, and this is length 6. Then x to y, this is x to y is 12. So if I join this point, you will see that we are going to get the same answer we got there. Okay, sorry. If I connect this to this, and I get the length, I will get that 13. You can see, giving us 13.3. Just a small approximation. So you can see it there. So the answer we got here is 13.4, and you can see that is B from your calculation. So by using this scale drawing, you can see I got 13.3. So take note of that. Let me position it a little. Okay, so it can actually be like this. So When you take it to one decimal place, you get the result. So that is the solution. I think you understand this. So I still have about 2 more questions to solve for you. So let's move to another question so that you get what we are talking about. Okay, this second question is taken from WAEC 2002 number 16. It's an objective question also. If you look at the question, you can see that the diagram has been given, and on this point here, which is point O, you can see the north direction is known. That means if this is the north direction, this is going to be 0 degrees facing north on this point O. Then that means Q is directly on the south of point O. You can see it, and you can see this angle here. This is 90 degrees. That means this line that comes straight like this is towards the east. That means P is standing on the east of point O. P is east of point O. And on point P, you can see the line that connects Q and P. We have this angle here. So the angle between this line and the east line is 34 degrees. Now the question wants us to find the bearing of Q from P. That means if you have your 90 degree, if you have your north line here on point P, you are going to turn around to this place before you come down. So the bearing from P going to Q is going to start from the north. Let me just sketch it here so that we do it fast and move on. So that means if I have my straight line like this, let's say something like this. So this is my north. So this is my north on this point P. So if you turn around like this is 90 plus 90, that is 180 before you get to this point. Then you can now move down to Q. So the angle we need in this question now is this. Let me call it theta. So if I can get this angle, all I need to do is to add it to 180. So 90 plus 90, which is 180. So 180 plus this theta is going to give us the bearing of Q coming from P. Okay, how do we do that? Now that we know this angle here to be 34, you know if this is 90, this is 180, this west line, west on this point P here is 270. So if I subtract 34 out of 270, 34 minus 270, I will get the bearing. And that is all. So I don't even need to add 90 plus 90 plus theta. Or if I do 90 minus 34, I will get theta. Then theta plus 90 will give us the bearing. So anyone you wish will get the same answer. So you can decide to do 270 minus 34. You will get the same answer. So it's the same thing. 230 minus 34 is the bearing. Or you can use first of all, since we know that angle between south and west is 90, so 90 minus 34, so we give us this angle. So theta is 90 minus 34, and that will give us what? 90 minus 34 is going to give us 50 what now? It's going to give us 56. So this angle is 56. So 56 plus 34, that is the full angle here, 90. So anyway, you will get the results. If I had my 90 plus 56, we'll get the same answer as that. So 90 for the first quadrant plus 90 again plus 90 for this second one, this second place 90, then plus 56. We are going to have the same results. So that is the answer for this particular question. Okay, so let me add it. If you do 270 minus 34, see the answer is 236. So A is the answer to this question, 236. Or if you do the same thing. You say 90 plus 56. You are going to have the same answer, 236 degrees. So the answer to this question is A. So take note of that. A is the answer. So that is all I want you to understand. So this is one of the basic introduction to bearing. With these few examples I've done, you don't have any problem when it comes to introduction to bearing. Just remember the basic assumption. Bearing assume that every point is facing north, and you start your angular measurement from turning round through the east. So just like that. So bearing from a particular point, always take note of where you are coming from. So in this question we are coming from P, so you need to turn around through the east down to this point, going to Q before you move down to Q. So if it's bearing from Q, the question asks for, this is the place we're supposed to find. So take note of that. From Q to P is this angle you will find. Then you move straight. Then this time around is from P, so you find this angle and you move straight. So the answer is 236. So take note of that. So any of the approach, you will get the same result. So let me do the third question I have for us before I'll try other much complex question.